because we got a call from the company, he never did, and he walked up with his gun tool. It looks like somebody's here.
Hi.
With a gal for Assembly 36. Did you know about that, Andy?
Mm-mm. Who's running in Assembly 36?
Her name is Lisa Romanoff.
Oh,
We have the debates at 6 o'clock.
hi, Don.
Russ is one of them. Hello. I haven't seen you guys at any of the council meetings.
There are going to be a lot of people, I don't think.
I don't think so.
But we're going to video it, so I'll put it up on YouTube.
Okay.
Better than nothing. School boards don't attract many people.
I know.
You guys got to do a better job of getting publicity.
You just got to register.
Well, listen, the last time when I ran, I purposely didn't campaign. Not one person in the school district called to ask what was I going to do. Not one parent.
For re-election in the town board, which still exists. Down a couple passed around lists of people that voted for.
Yeah.
I was at the top of the list.
I go to the outreach meeting.
Passed them out, and it's voting.
It's weird.
And the woman that got elected in industry,
Each year you
got elected and voted more.
Oh, I remember when she ran.
And she quit.
Yeah.
It really is.
Did you go to the Valley Electric thing last night? Were you there?
Yeah, we went the other day.
Nobody. You had to have a majority vote. It says in the bylaws, you shall win by majority vote. And shall doesn't mean you got an option. They should have had a runoff. Instead, they declared Pete Gazzi the winner. So they did that once before. But this time on to it, and I asked about it at the meeting yesterday. How many votes does it take for a majority? And then you're going to calculate it out, right? And then I said, did anybody get it? Well, no, but we're declaring Pete the winner because you can't do that. We need to go after him over this. And I'll tell you, when I saw it yesterday, this ain't going to be your friendly little co-op.
I've been 15 years ago. Washington, D.C.
And I'd like to know what the benefit is to us who only want to have lower rates and good service. It's costing us.
I know.
It's not my idea, it's a good time. No, they don't. You know, Tuesday, this room, we had over 60 people.
Nobody cares about school.
No, they don't.
I've got planning, so I would say. I mean, I worked in the system for 15 years.
I know.
I've been to every school.
Didn't your wife work there at one time?
Yeah,
Was it
I
Nancy?
retired 2 years ago.
I'm a very healthy person.
I don't want to get this not to mention campaign on that.
You gotta watch out for who the superintendent's friendly with.
I know
And so 5 years ago, I decided, no, I've been through so much, I'm just going to relax.
I wanted to have him come to the men's breakfast several years ago. And one of his friends told me he was gonna die. I asked him, did you talk to him and invite him? And he told me he didn't invite him because he didn't want him to go through the grilling that they do at the breakfast. Now, what kind of a deal is that?
I don't mind getting grilled.
That's the whole idea. You gotta know what the public's thinking, right?
So anyway.
He really doesn't
You know, but I do have somebody from the high school coming in 2 weeks. They're gonna come to breakfast.
I was
Actually, I also asked her to get me a tour. So I said, I love it.
Good, when you had,
Oh, Thursday mornings at 7:30,
we're,
right here.
oh, right here.
They give us that room, it's private, you know, so we're not serving anybody.
I'd be happy.
Yeah, you should. It's $5 for the meeting and the breakfast is a buffet, so it's free. Yeah. Love to have you come. And listen, I invite everybody. We have women coming
Yeah.
and Farrell was coming for a while.
Yeah, I know.
He gave up. No, he gave up when the guy died. I forget his name. What was his name? I don't remember. You know who it was? The Democrat that died that was coming to breakfast? Cliff Arnold, yeah. Cliff was coming. I got along really good with Cliff. And he was bringing, Jim Farrell and somebody else with him. And when Jim died, I didn't know he was that sick.
Nobody did.
He never said a word. And I really like it. I went to his memorial and I got a nasty email from, Diane Bull.
You were invited. It doesn't matter because it wasn't about, because it was a Democratic meeting, we're not supposed to have Republicans there. But you came, you said your piece, and you left. You did
Yeah.
absolutely nothing wrong. You were
I
fine.
really liked the guy. I felt very bad when he died. I got to tell you, even today I feel bad.
Cliff Arnold, he used to be our chairperson.
And I was disappointed there weren't any other Republicans that showed up. Because this isn't about Republican and Democrat. This is about the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
What a concept.
The living people.
What a concept.
Yeah. So I left the Republican Party. I don't know if you know that. And I felt there's no difference between the Republicans and Democrats anymore. All they both want to do is spend a lot of money.
And he sure did that last night.
Oh, boy, let me tell you.
1.8 trillion.
Gonna put another trillion on the debt.
I was totally disappointed.
Huh?
I'm joking.
No, I'm serious. They say it's gonna,
Well, they put another trillion when they passed the tax
I
bill.
left the Republican Party too, didn't
When
I?
they passed the tax bill.
Yeah.
So now they're adding 2 trillion.
I told Joe, I can't be a Republican anymore. They're not sticking up for president.
You need to impeach.
I don't know.
He gave the Democrats a $2 million doctor.
Now he's got John Bolton, national security.
Somebody I come in there.
No, you don't want him, he wants war.
No,
I don't want
no.
war.
We've been giving away the store and the American people have been taking it on the chin.
You know what?
You're not gonna have war.
Give the man a chance. Let him start. And if he starts, then we can criticize him.
I know John Bolton from the past.
And see, that's in the past. This is now.
He hasn't changed.
Gotta give him a chance.
He hasn't
Everybody
changed.
said, don't get tough with, tariffs. But look at what's happening. These
Yeah.
countries are coming to the table.
Not China.
Yeah, even China's coming to the table. Because here's what's gonna happen. The tariff they charge us, we're gonna charge that same amount.
On the Chinese, it's on the news yesterday. Drop it on the floor. Over there.
There's supposed to be one other person show up today. Yesterday, we only had one person. No, it's not 9, there's,
School board, there's nothing.
yeah, 9 candidates, yeah. Well, it was school board and assembly, that's the 9,
Yeah, I got 2 out of the 9.
yeah.
You expect things to change. Never change.
Well, they're the only ones that will get put up on the website, so it's up to the candidates to also, yeah.
We know it's out. Let's just do something. Kidding, I don't know, politics with my daughter.
No, right?
I have one that's Republican.
They're here actually for another meeting,
Yeah.
so.
I get to see your wife down at the sheriff's office.
You and I and.
I'm on the police officer advisory board.
That's another waste of time. That's not set up right.
Someone that's coming out to run for.
Anyway, we had a case and
They said they're the-
took care of it. It's the second
But
one.
they're not part of the thing.
Well, that would be a good question, because I have no idea. But the Carol's outside.
Just in case it's a little on.
I have a cigarette. Yeah.
Oh, well.
They're vaping, or whatever it is they do.
You know, like I said, I mean, I smoked for years, and I tried and tried. It just-
You know, Don, this is the most crooked place I've ever
You
lived.
know, I'm gonna have to be careful what you eat.
You know?
I'm gonna have.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You know, when I was on
Buy
the
your
cowboy,
shoelaces.
they always complain about corruption. I said,
Yeah,
well,
I
where's my envelope?
I sent it off.
You what?
Where's my envelope?
Yeah, really.
I haven't got any money yet.
On the last Facebook, but you're the only one who showed up on last that too. You know, when you,
Oh, well, because I'm gonna listen to the fireworks.
so that's my mission.
I don't think we're meeting fireworks, it's gonna be Don Rush, and I'm gonna give him hell. And he's gonna
I
stick
gave
it
the
on fire.
ultimatum, I gave the ultimatum this morning.
I'll be right in, guys.
Okay.
Oh, I thought, right.
Are you,
My name is Don. I'm right. I've been in the system, school board system, and I worked in every school.
Yeah, I just could not put it down.
Like you said,
And then the next thing you know. That was 2008, I have 31 cents.
my beautiful other half. So,
So, is there anybody else who wants to make a
I do too. I'm not good at it.
what kind of,
But I know.
They don't care.
Restaurants here, and my memories good, my roads, and like, people have to go out, they just go.
I mean, this is free, so why would you not show up?
Well, I agree.
Well, I know, I understand, that, but it's a first one, so.
My sisters do that.
Anyway, I'm here.
But I didn't show it, And I was here telling them, my God, my emotional base work we left.
One thing I'd like to see done in this city
I had
is that teachers be allowed empathy for class. In other words, they're required to have a certain amount of stuff. But they're not told how to do it. Well, to be allowed to interview, so they can hold the kids' attention
That's where I'm going.
and get more kids interested in learning. They're not in this, so they don't want to.
Now it's the last time I think. I'm glad I'm not. Yeah, I want to be better.
Well, I don't want to do it. Those are the teachers.
And,
I want more respect.
So it plays right if I don't.
Because kids don't show any respect, you just might get away with it.
Well, I don't know what happened to mine, but I didn't wave on this side.
Those are some of the things that we.
Who's that? Garfield High School in Scotland.
Yeah.
And you think that that was
Well, I have to do my hair thinner. It was up to my chin, but no, I like my hair grow up. Yeah.
Locations are relevant.
Yeah, he's the one who owns the shop, so.
Yeah, we had a lot of nice kids.
Yeah.
This is a
In
new
general, kids are nice, but it's kindergarten on up to show respect for the teacher. And the counselors, come on.
By the time I get there, she keeps it off.
Get it.
I never had, in my position, I never had any problem.
John is outside, he's also running.
And,
Yeah. I think
I have them communicate them to the dean.
Great.
who's out there?
Yeah, there's a bunch of people standing around.
All schools are wild and kids are bad. That's not true. If they are, then it's not a good school based on its administration.
Right, Albert, yeah, do they smoke? I don't even know.
Oh. Thank you.
So we're not gonna have microphones tonight, so you guys are gonna have to sit up closer.
I can hear fine.
No, you gotta sit up closer.
I'll
Sit
talk
at the
loud.
table here.
I didn't know what to do.
It won't be on camera.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She's a witness to that.
Oh, I've actually had the bears and raised it, I think, that's been on 100 counts.
And
Yeah,
Nobody would
you
know.
need air bears to show that.
nobody, we didn't do it.
didn't happen.
They rescheduled for next Wednesday.
6 o'clock next Wednesday.
Yeah. I need a few days to get everything together, because we're not using Frank's equipment. So, just sit around, pick a chair.
We had 2 more outside, didn't they come in?
Okay.
Almost late, guys.
Take a seat. I'm gonna,
Okay, so we gotta sit close then.
how are you?
How you doing, Don?
And you are,
I'm Andy Piper.
oh, how you doing, Andy?
Nice to meet you.
Good name.
Put me on Facebook.
You running?
Yes. Francis.
Lisa, just sit up close. My man.
Mr. Piper. I'll give you my card.
You running too?
Thank you.
I'm not doing my job here.
You're running for.
You're retired, you forget everything.
How many is that?
They got, about 2 more cops.
Yes, I did.
Guess what? Okay.
Well, John Norvell's supposed to be here, but I don't see him. Oh, there you are.
Hey, Don, how's it going?
I don't make up the name tags until they show up. How you doing? Pretty good.
So I gotta see what they're talking about. They have different ones out there.
Do you need a bottle of water?
Huh?
Do you need a bottle of water?
No, I don't think we can.
So how many is it? How many,
6 o'clock.
2 minutes to 6, 1 minute to 6.
How many seats are there to fill?
Depending where you go.
I think it's 3.
Good go.
districts is available to members?
Pardon?
How many other districts are open for?
Five districts.
There's four.
Five districts.
One at the north end of the county and three down here. All the odd number districts.
Oh.
3, 5, and 7. 1, 3, 5, and 7. Yeah.
Is it like that, other guy voting have to live in five in order to be five? You're in my district.
No, I'm in high school, middle school, District 3, or area 2.
I'm in precinct 27.
Okay, I'm not sure which.
Is there sodium tenetol in
Your
it?
wife said it was not in your.
Nothing that I didn't know.
Okay.
Right, they did. Are
I don't have the precinct number.
John, you want to sit over there?
you forgetting them on your side?
Yeah, I knew you were. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, right?
A reasonable facsimile thereof.
Yeah. Okay, here. So we're gonna go, normally we had Frank Maurizio's equipment here, but Frank had something come up and he's not able to use his equipment right now.
Okay.
Nothing to do with that, it's a personal issue, so, just so you know.
Thank you.
And,
If it works, it makes no difference.
so I'm gonna, oh, I know what happened.
So if you need to stand up to project, stand up and project. Stand up and project, no?
Actually, if you stand up, we won't see you, your head will get cut off.
Yeah. Not that big a room.
What?
Not that big a room.
What? So it's not that big crowd, yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
the crowd on Wednesday was, maybe what, 25, would you think?
Wednesday was which one?
I think it was
Monday was
over
busy,
Tuesday,
Tuesday was busy,
Tuesday is big.
real fast.
Yeah.
Wednesday was the one that was
Unfortunately,
slight.
John,
We didn't have very many.
We didn't have many people on Wednesday.
Yeah.
We had about 25 people.
Yeah, it sounds good. There's that, yeah.
Okay, so I got both of you on camera.
Okay.
I would say you're looking good, but I know better. And so do you. You want to, move the signs over a little bit?
More in front of you, right, or what?
Is that good?
Looking good, yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I'm already live on the internet,
Okay.
so, okay. So we're live on the internet, and I'm recording just in case.
All right.
And, this has been one of those days, by the way. Nothing has gone right since I got up this morning.
We're gonna fix that.
So I think that, don't count on anything being right here. And I want you to know that the senior center has been nice enough to let us use it without any cost. Yeah, and so the first two nights, they got some decent donations.
Yeah.
Tonight, probably we're gonna go dry, but that's besides the point. But, we might do another one, towards the end of April.
Okay.
And maybe we can promote a little bit in the schools and things to get, especially, I'd love to see the teachers come out and give you guys the third degree.
Okay.
Put the light on, you
I know a
know,
lot.
put the lamps, sweat it out of you. So, okay, so you each have 2 minutes to introduce yourselves. And then the way it's gonna work is, whatever question, it's normally a 2-minute response. There's no debate between the two of you. And you gotta speak up so the microphones will pick up your audio.
Okay.
Because I don't have, if I'd have known those other microphones weren't gonna be here, I'd have brought my own. Like I said, it's one of those days.
Just let me know if I'm not speaking loud.
You're not speaking loud enough.
Now. Okay.
All right,
There you go.
so, these questions came from the men's breakfast, that people that go to the men's breakfast public comments that we've heard, news articles that have been in the paper, and reports and whatever I could think of.
Okay.
And I have more than enough for tonight.
Fine.
All right, so, if I hold up this paper, you've got 15 seconds left. And when it goes down like this, that's the executioner sign. All right, so, you each have 2 minutes to tell us a bit about yourself. Do you want to flip a coin, or do you want to defer to the older person?
Okay, to be for beauty.
I'm old, so,
Probably heard that a few times.
So am I.
Go ahead. My name is John Rust. I'm 77 years old. My wife and I, Frances, have lived in Pahrump 23 years. And I've worked in the school system as a classroom aide, special education aide, been a parapro for 15 years, and a librarian. And so I know the system because I've worked in it that much. I've been in every school in Pahrump, and I know many of the teachers, and they know me, and they know my viewpoints on a variety of things, some of which they agree with, some they don't. Things that are important to me are discipline, whether better or worse than it had been, the graduation rate, and test scores, and what's the other one? Attendance. I'm worried about graduation rate because I saw when I went to the state site that the graduation rate currently is 60%. That's not good for high school, the size of our high school. If we can only get 60% graduation, we're not doing something wrong.
By the way, if you guys want to move up closer so you're a little better for the mics, I can rearrange, you can sit closer and we'll pull the table up. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Okay,
Are they gonna be on camera?
Are you still gonna be on camera?
yeah. You gotta sit a little closer together. Act like you, I'm not gonna say it, like each other.
How about this one up here?
Yeah, I gotta fix that.
I got room on this side.
Can you see yourselves?
Yeah,
Are you happy with
yes,
that?
that's fine.
That works.
Okay, well, let me move this back a little. That'll work. Okay. So, John?
Well, my name is John Norvell. I've lived in Pahrump for, I guess, about 6 years. I've lived in Sandy Valley before. I was going to be a teacher when I was going to St. Ambrose back in Iowa. And I was working at Caterpillar Tractor and making about $40,000 a year. And I was telling my counselor, there's something wrong with this picture. So I ended my work at St. Ambrose because I said, why am I knocking myself out to make $20,000? I feel teachers are completely underpaid. I would fight to help get as much money as possible for the staff, and the support staff, I think, needs attention. I'm pro-union, and I don't know if that scares people or not, but I think everybody that commits to doing a job in our community needs to make a livable wage. I know a little bit about teaching. I did my teaching semester and realized that I didn't think I could look at it for 20 years at that amount of money. And made the decision not to go into it. But I am familiar with teaching. So that's pretty much where I'm at and why I'm here.
So, my first question is going to be, how would you describe the Pahrump Valley School of Excellence? And project, please, for the microphone.
My evaluation would be that there is no Pahrump Valley School of Excellence in existence. because the test scores don't reflect it, the attendance that I've seen so far, and yes, dear, I'll talk louder.
Much better.
The students that I've seen in process often get to middle school and they can't add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Now, when you get to middle school, which is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, you need to know the multiplication tables, and they're not taught well in our school system. So in any event, I think that there's a lot of room for improvement. I would also say that in general, that students tend not to show the respect that's due to teachers and staff at the school, including the principal. So,
Done?
I did.
Okay. John?
Well, I don't know a whole lot about our local school, and I'll be right up front about that. But, what I do know about teaching, you gotta teach people to think. You know, I think.
You have to speak up. I want the mics to get you.
Okay, I'm scared to death that kids rely too much on their computers and phones. They don't go through the process of learning. I'd like to see as much motivation in that area as possible. That you have to inspire a kid. You know, I don't know how the teachers are dealing with their students right now, but I would encourage as much getting behind the whole idea of learning and why you're doing it. Because I don't think that's emphasized enough in school. And from what I understand, Nevada is like 48th in the state for schools. That's sad. We can do better.
In regards to that, I want to give you a couple of statistics here, if I can find them. By the way, I'll show you that. This is a report that was produced in 2011 by the state, in which they discuss how many credits you have to have in different states to graduate. As an example, in California, you need 13. In Nevada, you need 22. Now, they're comparing every state. What's your thought about if you compare these two states alone? How can you compare them? What would you do to make some adjustments so they could be compared properly?
Good question.
I'm a little suspect about the difference in the number of credits needed because, and I haven't reviewed that for quite some time, but the question is what subjects are those credits earned in? To what intensity were you taught in those 12 subjects in California versus 22 in Nevada? And I think 22 is too many, because I've seen these kids in our schools and they're not achieving, for the most part, in almost any subject that's being taught. And I'm not aware of being in the system of 22 subjects where you could get 22 credits. But I don't know.
Well, I think there should be a national standard for schools. I'm not familiar with this report. I would like to review it. We need, as a country, to have a national standard for education. That's my personal belief on that. I don't know why things would be different from state to state as far as education.
The federal government created, what was it called? Common Core.
Right.
And most people don't realize that Nevada has adopted Common Core, but they changed the name in 2011 to something else, but it's still Common Core.
Yes.
So, John, why don't you start first? What's your opinion of Common Core? What would you do about it?
Well, like I say, I'd like to get more familiar with it and see what the standards are. But I do believe that the entire country should have similar standards. And that's all, pretty much all I can tell you about it right now. Because you have a right as a citizen to get a good education no matter what state you're in. And I think we owe it to the youth. Go ahead.
Common Core is in essence a national standard. And the Common Core things are mathematics, English, science. The Common, Core includes mathematics, English, science, and I forgot what else. But any of them, the Common Core standards are nationwide. How they're implemented in each state is the question. And I'm not sure that Nevada, I don't know for a fact that Nevada is doing things the same as other states with Common Core, no matter what they call it.
And they do call it Common Core. There was an issue that came up, exam. It no longer exists. They just sent this memorandum out in October with a follow-up in December. The school district has ordered that they're going back to, I believe, 1988 to notify students that diploma, and the date on it will be 2017. There's more to it than that, but that's the crux of it.
I don't agree with that issue because there are a lot of things now where children in a variety of things get trophies or certificates just for showing up. To me, that's not an achievement. And if you didn't go to high school and pass the test, why should you get a diploma? Everybody in our age group had to get past tests to get there. We had finals and midterms and all those sorts of things to get through. And to get your degree, you had to have taken those courses that were required to get the credits to earn your degree. And I think everyone here had to go through that, no matter what state you were in, even though they didn't have national standards. I don't agree with allowing kids to send a letter and say, I'd like a diploma because I went to school.
Okay, Don?
I agree with Don on that. I mean, I left high school and got a GED and joined the Navy. And I don't believe in a standard test so much, but like I say, you can't just write a letter and say, well, I went and I didn't pass the test, so I need a diploma. I don't see where that works. I mean, I went on to college after I got out of service and stuff, but it just doesn't seem right that you could write a letter and say, well, I was there, no matter how bad you were doing.
Tell us what you would do to improve the public's awareness of what happens in the local school. John? You get to go first, John.
Okay. I don't know for sure. I'd have to study that. I mean, but there's got to be ways of get the community more involved with education. I don't know how well the PTA is working here or what kind of parental involvement is going on, but I'd like to find out more about that and see what we can do to increase it. Like I say, I don't have any kids in school here. My schooling was in Iowa and California, but it's something I would look at and address because I think we need community involved in education. And not just education, the community needs to be involved in supporting everybody else that's involved in the school, not just the students. That's my feeling.
John doesn't know it, but I grew up across the street from the college he went to.
I know.
St. Ambrose.
I know that. yeah.
Anyway, I would make every attempt to go to the seniors center, various organizations like Rotary and so forth, and talk to people at those meetings and say, we need to have your interest in the school system. Tonight is a good example of the kind of attention that's paid in general in Vermont to school board. People seem to not think it's that important. And the school board spends a lot of money on the existence of our schools for the administrators and the teachers. And the public should want to know how that money is spent, why it's being spent, and what the impact is to the community, graduation or non-graduation students.
This is just a quick answer, yes or no. Have either of you read state law regarding education?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Can you talk a little about this issue that they have in California called value-added education, where a student comes in at the beginning of the year and is tested for their knowledge, and then they're tested at the end of the school year to determine whether the teacher, the instructor, actually provided additional value to the student's education by knowing more than when they came in.
Well, I hadn't read that issue, but as John said, I went to school in Iowa and graduated from high school in Iowa, and went to college in Iowa. And we, in essence, even though it wasn't called that, had value-added education because every year when we started the school year, we got a test in what we knew about a subject. And that would be different in each class. And at midterm, we were tested again to see how much more we knew than we did when we took the test at the start of school. And we had finals at the end of the year to find out how much more we had learned from the teacher or teachers in each subject at the end of the year. So it wasn't called value added, it was simply testing you on to find out what you had learned from start to finish.
John?
Yeah, same thing. I went to school back there too. I don't know that that's a sound measure of the teacher. It may be measuring the student. I don't know if it really actually measures the teacher. I'd like to look at more information on that. I really don't know that it's a sound evaluation, value added. But you do need to find out where your people are. When I was learning to teach, you wanted to know where these kids were before you started working with them and see what they could handle and what they needed to know later on to fulfill the course requirements. So, but that's pretty much all I can say about that right now.
Well, let me get to something that you brought up, John. You like the unions.
Yeah.
And there are some school districts that have worked very well with the unions in improving the quality of education.
Mm-hmm.
What would the two of you do if you were on the school board to improve the quality of management by utilizing what the unions can help you do or help the school improve in their education?
Okay. Well,
Is this a test for John?
what I would like to do is see a manageable class size. I don't know how stressed the teachers are here. I'm not sure where they're at.
Before you get past that, what do you consider to be a manageable class size?
I would say 25 kids.
In all grades?
I would think so.
Okay.
It might depend on the course you're teaching. I mean, you know, like the gym class, you might be able to do 50 people at a shot, you know. But I think in order to get in touch with students, you need something you can deal with. And I would think 25 to 30 kids. I don't know what the schools are at right now, but these are things that I would want to look at, and I'm sure the union has opinions on these things. That's what I would address, but I sometimes don't know how some teachers manage a mob of kids, and you can't fix the one that's just falling a little bit behind because you don't have time to deal with him because you're too busy dealing with 14 others that are just driving you nuts or something.
So, Don,
I'm a union supporter also, but I would like to see class sizes reduced to not more than 25, although fewer if possible. The problem in the United States in general, and almost every state, is states don't have money. And one of the first things that gets cut in almost every state is the per pupil paid to schools for each student in that school. Nevada is no different. It's gone up once or twice since we've moved to Nevada. But the problem is when the per pupil payment to a school goes down, that means that very often you lose teachers who say, I'm not making a living being a teacher. So they leave. So schools and the system are left with trying to divide students up between fewer teachers. And that happens in grade school, middle school, and high school.
well, that kind of brings us, since you brought money into this, teachers do not work a full work year. They take basically summer off. And they're not compensated for working when they don't work, although they can split their annual income so they get a check every month, even through summer. So when you calculate a teacher's income, you have to factor in the fact that if they worked a full year, their income would be different. So how would you address that with the teachers? Because I always hear, and the public hears, we never pay teachers enough. But if you look at Transparent Nevada these days and look at salaries of teachers in Nye County, I think some of them are pretty good. With benefits, I see salaries ranging from $65,000 to $90,000 a year. So how would you address that, Don, and then John?
My personal opinion is that perhaps some teachers are paid too much and some I know are paid too little. But one thing I would like to see is longer school days and longer school years. The kids now go to school in a shorter day than most organized countries in the world. Japan and Europe, they go to school for 8 to 10 hours a day, and the school year is usually around 10 to 11 months. To me, that should happen and then pay teachers more if we have the money to do so. But I would like to get longer school days, longer school years, so that kids have more of a chance to learn what they need to learn and can't be taught in the short days and short seasons that they have now.
John?
I kind of agree with that. I think there should be a longer teaching day. I don't know how short it is right here, right now.
Usually you have to
Yeah, I think I went a half day when I was in my senior year, and I didn't feel like I was gaining a whole lot. But another thing about teachers, there's a lot of work that's not seen. There's a lot of prep work in teaching. You can't just say, geez, well, they only do this many hours or that many hours. There's a lot more to it than prepping and getting ready for lessons for the next day and knowing where you're at. There's a lot more work goes into teaching than some people look at. It's not like, you're washing windows and you can say, well, okay, you've been at this for 2 hours. Okay. It's not a job that can just be done. There's a lot goes into teaching that's not seen.
Since you bring up the prep work, I was told by an elementary school teacher that they have to put in a lot more prep time because they teach all classes during the day, all subjects. Whereas typically in the high school, they have one subject they teach to multiple classes. How would you address that, not to me or the audience, but to a teacher?
Well, in elementary school, they do teach every subject.
Which takes more prep time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the argument anyway.
Well, I mean, that's not unusual because in elementary school, you don't have kids transferring from one class to another as they do in middle school and high school. So the prep time to teach every subject they're supposed to learn, it's going to take longer in elementary school because you got, in this case of Pahrump, maybe 6 hours of school day. And if they have to teach virtually every subject every day, it takes more time to prepare for that.
John?
I agree, and perhaps maybe some elementary schools might look at a more focused deal where maybe they can start moving younger kids. You know, okay, I'm your history professor, or maybe the teachers could move, classes could stay, rotate the teachers around, get more specialized learning from people that are specialized in history or geography or government or whatever they're teaching. I think there's lots of options and things that can be looked at and studied.
You know, you mentioned that in the elementary school, the students don't move from class to class.
Right.
So the teacher stays in the same classroom all day. Do you think if a teacher could teach one class all day, the same class, and move the teacher from classroom to classroom, that you would get a better quality of education by having that teacher more focused on what the subject matter is in each class?
I would say yes to that if it was a good teacher.
You'll find out soon enough, won't you?
Everybody has to understand that not every teacher in the system can be considered a good teacher. And to me, part of that problem is based on where they recruit. Because many of the teachers here are recruited from states that have teacher education schools that aren't considered top of the line for teachers. In any event, if a teacher is not a good teacher for the whole day, they're not going to improve for having the same subject to different classes by having them come to him or her for every class.
Wouldn't it be the objective to have the best of the best teaching one subject
I
as
agree, but I
opposed
can
to?
guarantee you that teachers, that administrators in school systems in Nevada don't have the luxury of going to the best of the best graduates for teachers.
John, I'm going to let you answer, and then I want to come back to that subject.
Well, I think the only advantage to having a teacher that teaches just history or just math is these people usually have a passion and they want to have that as their major. And if you can get the passion delivered to the kids, I think you're in better shape. A lot of schools, I think elementary schools, the teachers are doing so much that they don't really evolve a passion for that particular subject, where that's the one thing you want to learn from a teacher. I mean, is how to become passionate about what you're learning. And I think you would absorb more as a student if your teachers were more involved in their particular subject and could teach you to be as enthusiastic about it as they are.
So let me pose this question. As a school board member, you become the authority over everything. And if it was your opinion that it would be better to have teachers selected in the elementary grades who are excellent at presenting reading and mathematics and those subjects, and rotating them as opposed to the teacher in the same classroom teaching everything, some better than others, how would you approach that and deal with that with the teachers, the union, and the administration? John, you're first.
Well, you have to put feelers out and see where everybody thinks about the issue. You'd have to get some opinions, figure out where to go and how to get there. I can't tell you right offhand, you know, just because I'm on the school board trustee, you know, that I know better about this than you do. The teachers are there, they're in the rooms, they're dealing with the kids. There would be a lot of involvement in finding out how that plan may work. But I think it's something that can be looked at. But I wouldn't just dictate it right off and say, oh, I think this is the way we ought to do this. You gotta be involved with the people doing the job.
Don?
One of the reasons I'm running for a school board is that my observation with trustees has been that in general, they have no idea what's going on in the schools. They don't visit it, with few exceptions. They don't visit the schools, talk to the teachers. They don't know what's going on. To me, if I were going to make a recommendation like we're discussing, I'd want to go visit the school, observe teachers, and if it was elementary school, go to every grade and find out what they're doing before I made any recommendation. And I would want to go to every school in Verona. And in fact, you'd have to go to Round Mountain and Beatty to see how they're doing too, make sure they're all doing the same thing.
I have some charts, I'm gonna look for it here. We have these outlying schools, and there were charts that told us, they were actually printed in the newspaper, about how well various schools were doing. And Nye County was not at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Out of 5 stars, we had a few that got 3, and we had about 1 star. Now, when you talk to, I'm going to give you this to kind of look at real quick while I tell you. And this is Clark County's list. Don, if you want to look at that one, that's Clark County. And if that's any indication of the quality of education in comparison to how to lift the quality of education in these schools so that our children perform better. In other words, how would you go about doing it? I'd like to hear that. I have my own opinion. I'd like to hear yours.
What I would like the trustees to do is, as I said, starting in Borough, to visit every school and see how they teach in each school, and go to every class in every school. And even if you do that for a month before you even write down your observations for a review, so that you have some good idea of what it is you're thinking about. Because if you schools and observe, you can't possibly make a good evaluation of what they're doing. So I would want to visit your school to improve, that you make changes in such a way to improve. But not say go to every school and say, well, we need to change the whole system right now. It doesn't work well doing that. And if, for instance, in Pahrump 2 underperforming schools, go visit them first and see how they compare to the schools that aren't considered underperforming. Because you got to evaluate every visit as to how they compare to each other, and teaching, what they're teaching, how much time they're spending with students, that sort of thing. And then talk to the principals and talk to classroom aides also, because many teachers should have classroom aides to help them with disruptive students, but they don't.
With the disruptive students in a minute.
In any event, you have to evaluate by observation first before you make recommendations on what to do.
John?
I totally agree with that, Bert. For a time, when I worked for Caterpillar Tractor, I was an operations analyst, and that was my job, individual jobs, and see where the pitfalls were and what was going on. Then you come up with a better way. And you'd have to do the same thing.
Now, we spend money paying the superintendent's salary and the high school principal. Every principal of a building receives a very nice paycheck and benefits. Why would you want to do that work rather than telling them they need to do it?
Take that one first.
Well, I'm not,
Oh, wait.
I'm not suggesting that we do the work, but,
Right.
what I would want to do is, as I said, make observations of what I observed, and then go to the principal and say, this is what I've observed. What are your comments to me? I observed. And if they don't agree with what I observed, I say, well, maybe you ought to spend more time in the classroom with those teachers. I mean, you're an administrator. Why don't you administrate? Why don't you manage? That's what high school principals, not high school principals be managers. They're managing a staff of teachers, support staff, and everything else that goes with it. But if they don't know what's going on in the classroom, they're not managing. They're just there collecting.
Yeah, I would probably be the first people I would talk to, get their observations of where they think they're at, and then take a look at what's actually going on in the individual school, and then confer back to them what their thoughts are on what my observations were. That's the way you look at any problem. You've got to get both sides of it and start figuring out how it can get better.
I gave you a list of schools that were excellent schools in Las Vegas. Is that, there should be some there somewhere that are 5-star schools in Las Vegas.
You have the stars.
Oh, yeah.
So my question is there a reason why you wouldn't want to visit those schools to see what they do and bring some of that information back?
I would want to do.
I mean, if a school is excelling, why go to the poor well, go to the ones that do
What
well?
I would do is call,
bring it back.
contact the superintendent of Park County and say, I would like to observe some of your 5-star schools and find out what they're doing compared to what we're doing.
And I want to recruit some of your teachers.
Wouldn't go that far until I had a chance to observe them.
Yeah, that would be a definite look at the ones that are doing well and find out what their techniques are that are making it. And definitely we're looking to see them with what they're doing at a 5-star school as opposed to a 2-star school.
Just to share something with you, I was listed as the smartest kid in the school in elementary school. And it's the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. So the poor performing school always gets rewarded with more money, more effort to make it better, in lieu of helping the high performing students get at what they do. How would you address that?
To your earlier about passion in teachers. Teachers got to be comfortable enough to have a passion for what they're doing. Happy teachers are going to have better educated students. A teacher that's struggling is probably not as enthusiastic about their job as they should be, and maybe some of them need to be on to other things. But you have to have a passion for that particular job of teaching. And that would be the first thing I'd be looking at, what the teachers are doing. Because that's going to be best in every class. And I would lose ground in those classes. teachers that would make it very easy. You could tell their enthusiasm would be contagious. And I finally figured out Al's a great teacher, and he got me just jazzed on it. I mean, but it's hard to see exactly what I'm talking about, but there's something there. If you study these classrooms and teachers and how they're working, you'll know if the teachers got principals could motivate them.
Well, when I went to school, unlike you, I was always rude. Yes, I am. The attention I got was with the individual. Nevertheless, trustees, to me, need to talk to better performing schools, even in your own district, and ask principals there, why do you think you're doing better than others? And what would you need to improve on what you have now? Because if they have good ideas about how to improve what they're already doing, that means it could be valuable for all schools in the district, not just them. Trustees need what in the district they're doing, as opposed to just talk to as many idea of what they say they need to do better, be doing well. Or if they're not doing well, what do you need to improve?
I hate to say this, but in my days as a school board member, I've seen the administrators that you talk about. And our solution was we moved them into the poor performing schools because that's where they sent all the poor performing teachers. There's a article in the newspaper some time back. 63, this is in Las Vegas, 63 schools would have been downgraded because of declining performance, and the district disregarded the schools to keep their original rankings on school performance.
No.
That's a very simple answer. I don't need to hear any more. Don? John?
Yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense. I would say no too.
We saw that just coming down from the state on these going to be handing out.
Yeah.
They're making it retroactive. Had I only known when I went to school.
Yeah, you could mail it.
So just, I'm going to get to this. Don brought up discipline. Now, having taught substitute just as you have in this, I've seen the issues with discipline. What I want to know from the two of you is what causes the discipline problem in the class, and how do you think you would approach the administrating them to deal with it?
You want that one or you want me?
Well, let's see, who went first? Don was first last, so I
Yeah.
guess you're the lucky one.
I don't know. I don't know what the disciplinary problems are looking like right now.
Well, you went to school, right?
Yes, I did.
Did you see the discipline problem?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I don't think there were as many. I don't know for sure. Like I say, I've been out of teaching for a long time. And I was in Iowa. And I really didn't see disciplinary problems at school when I was going to school in Iowa. If different individuals, if that's these days or not, I haven't put it in a long time, to tell you the truth. But I was looking into it, and most of the time, I never, when I did my teaching semester, I never came across any problems, so I don't know.
As for kids, if there were discipline problems in the system in Davenport, and if you were going to that school everybody knew why they were voting. Most of the discipline problems I've observed in the last 15 years are respect. Teachers, administrators, support staff do not, and respect is not really taught. And you have to teach kids to respect themselves, each other, the teachers, the principals, and that can be done, but they don't do it here enough, in my opinion. And so the problem is that if there is a discipline problem, then kids are sent maybe first to the principal's office, and you might have 5 or 6 kids in the principal's office, and then the secretaries and the aides in the office, but anything in terms of respect for what they've done.
So how would the two feel about suspending it?
Suspension doesn't help the kids.
Okay, John?
I kind of agree with that too. I don't think that sending them home to sit on the couch is going to help them much. But there ought to be, like Don said, maybe special classes and stuff for suspended students where it's more controlled or smaller classes.
I would have a caveat to that.
I knew you were gonna have
If
one.
it's a kid that's violent, they need help.
Yeah.
And so I know the principal and the school board course available for violence to be referred, correct them so that they can be in school. Sending them without any kind of corrective action, that doesn't help them, and it's not going to change them.
The classes where a student inattentive, to say the least. There must be an underlying cause for that.
Yeah.
And really, if you could tell us what the administration should look at to fix that issue. Now, I'm going to go a little further. I had that happen. A parent whose kid was not disruptive accosted me and complained that his son was not getting the education he was paying for. If that happened to you, how would you handle your approach to the disruptive student?
Well, first I would want to determine the home life is disrupted because we're a poor community. First time in the West in terms of, I guess, family incomes. Nevertheless, I would want to find out the home environment for kids because many of them have a lousy home environment. They may have one or both parents on drugs. You may have an alcoholic parent or whatever, or they may live in a home that's so we need to have better counselors in schools. They have counselors in that kind of school system, but I've dealt with a few of them. I didn't consider them all that great as counselors. But you need to find out what's causing what you think is causing this kid to be disruptive.
Well, that's kind of what I'm asking.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what would you think could be the cause? And John,
I would think a lot of it's despair. I think a lot of young people are looking at a situation in the country where they're thinking, I'm never going to get college. I can't take out homes, you know. If a kid's disruptive, if he wants attention for something, we need to get some kind of professionals in there, test these kids, find out what's going on with them, and then work at individual solutions, or maybe, you know, just sometimes just getting a kid involved and actually, like you say, maybe you haven't had good luck with counselors, but you know, if a good counselor is talking, you can.
I have here Rally Times. This was in 2013. And these students ACE, the CRT scores. These are the Criterion Reference Test, which is a test on intelligence. They aced the scores, which meant they didn't miss one question. Are 5, 10, 14 of them. I'm going to show you the kids. Is there a reason we don't see more of this stuff? Is there a reason we don't give the accolades and bring them out, have them go on a radio or a TV show and be interviewed about how they did it? And
Because this tape paper sucks.
Blame the owner.
Yeah, I agree. If you acknowledge the kid when they're doing something right,
But we also don't have teachers or classes at any level that gives more attention to high-performing students like these. They should be able to gauge in terms of, because if they ace the test, they're acing the courses. Well, they should be able to get advanced courses. We don't have that.
actually we do.
Well, if we do, then it's new.
When they get to high school, they graduate.
And well,
I only heard about that, and I advocated
In the
that,
past-
why don't we just have a normal 3-day matriculation course? So in 3 years you can graduate. How many students might do better if they knew they didn't have to be there for 4 years?
might have many
something to look
more.
at.
Give them a goal to achieve.
That's right, we don't challenge kids. When we teach, I've seen it, we don't, when they're taught mathematics, English, you name it. Nobody, you don't have to spell well, you don't have to use grammar well, you don't have to be able to advise well.
Who wants to read Shakespeare? My God, it's,
Hey,
I don't care,
I
it's
wanna read
something
Shakespeare.
that gives you a better perspective on the world. Shakespeare, about 300 years.
I would like to see the arts strengthened.
you know, talking about that, you can't constantly, since we've had so many immigrants coming in from the Asian countries, from India, from China, from Japan, hearing about how they excel at their studies, and for some reason, our students don't. Is there some basic issue that you could look at and say, this is, many times, we look at the symptoms rather than the basic cause. And when you get to the basic symptoms, so my question to you is, what do you think is the basic cause for the Asian countries coming here and performing better than the student countries?
Asian and Indian culture is that school is 10 to 12 hours a day. If you don't do what you're supposed to, you don't go to school anymore. The students,
Well, in this country, if you don't go to school anymore, you'll be thrilled.
Yeah, well,
I don't think that's an answer.
no, I don't either. But Indian and Asian cultures are, education is not just good, it's mandatory. And you go to school 10 to 12 hours a day, and you have.
So, John, why don't you respond on what your position is?
well, but I kind of agree. Our probably fall back a little. You know, I know my boy had a problem with school when he was going in Iowa. I mean, but when I found out from his teachers is he was bored because he was doing so well, and then it was a problem for him. You know, he wasn't being stimulated. So we got him into accelerated classes and stuff, and things changed. And he was a lot better off.
He needed to be challenged.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why
it-
we don't hear.
we don't have challenges here that I know of, you know? I don't know how the Asian schools actually operate, but it'd be interesting to look into.
They're tough.
Tell me how you think the school should be changing to meet the coming technologies and competition in the real world? Don?
Well, for one thing, the technology comes, kids need to learn math and science. And in grade school, when I went to grade school, by the end of third grade, you had to have memorized the multiplication tables. If you don't know how to multiply, you can't divide, add, subtract adequately to do higher math. And for the sciences, you have to do higher math. Calculus, trigonometry.
Too hard.
I don't care. If you want to be good in science, if you're not good in science by knowing math, then you're not going to get a job.
But if our kids can't do it, we shouldn't force them to do it.
Yeah, we should, for their own benefit.
Facetious,
Yeah,
because I hear this all the
Yeah.
time.
If we don't force them to do it, they're not going to go anywhere.
So, John?
Well, I'm sure you've all been to a cash register at a fast food joint. You give a guy a $20 bill, and he's already punched it in the computer, and then you give him the 13 cents change, and they think you're trying to rob them. You know, they don't understand how to make change even. Math is pretty fundamental, you know. And I'm afraid of our technology. I think too many kids are
What's that's
phone
happening,
does
is going to happen in the next 30 years is many jobs that are now filled by humans will be robots. And nobody has really worked on the impact of robots taking over jobs in the United States, let alone other countries. Because if they take over 50% of the jobs that are now performed by human beings, what are those human beings going to do to survive? And what are we going to do to help them survive? Because they won't have any work.
Now, Don, you've been a teacher on a substitute level, so you've been in the schools, but John, have you had a chance to tour the schools?
No.
Would you like a chance to tour the high school,
Oh, definitely.
Don? I'm working on it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you know. I got a deal here, it says Nye County School District. All right? Where is the headquarters for the Nye County School District? That's right. So would you be in favor, and it's there because that's where the reason then everything would be located in one place.
Let's put it this way, 82% of the Nye County population is here. So I don't believe in keeping the county seat 200 miles away just because it was the county seat 100 years ago when the state was formed. They have administration of the county.
John?
Totally agree. You go where the people are. You can move where your population. It doesn't make any sense to have it that far away.
Are you familiar with, well, I'm not gonna ask you that, I'm just gonna tell you. When you wanna be hired, all the documentation is up in Tonopah. You're absolutely right.
Right.
Needs to be there.
Yeah.
I could give you guys 30 more questions, but I think you had enough for one night. So if you want, maybe each take 1 minute and, besides that, I don't want everybody wake up, they're getting ready to quit. If you would take like 1 minute and having received all these different areas and questions, are you thinking any different or do you want to just state your original position? And you got a minute or so to wind it up?
Sure. I'll take a minute. Well, I believe that I do have a passion. There's so many things I don't know about the school board. My first perception of it was somebody sitting there just crunching the numbers for this, and we don't have enough for that, we don't have enough for this other thing. But I do have a passion for helping our schools get better, and I do want to give something back to the community, and that's why I asked for your vote, because I look at a lot of things.
I want, as a trustee to help promote within our school system, allowing teachers to use innovation in their imagination in teaching their subject or subject each day. Too often, the way they teach is dictated by the administration. And I would like to see a teacher to be able to innovate in how they teach what they're teaching so that it gathers the interest of students. Because if students get bored, normally it's because the teacher stands and lectures time, and the kids get bored, and then they start talking to each other, whispering to each other, different problems because they've lost interest. And I would like to see, as much as possible, permitting teachers to use innovation and imagination in teaching their subjects in their classes.
I can tell you with authority that in the elementary schools, that's not allowed.
Oh, I understand.
And so as school board members, you have to realize that there's a state law, there's the principal who has to follow state law, and then you, as to figure out how you're going to get around it so you get a good education for these students.
I know that, and I would work with teachers, and maybe it wouldn't happen in elementary, but there could be ways to let elementary teachers improve how they teach. When they teach high school, I'd like to see more innovation, because I've talked to kids and teachers. They're often stymied in how they teach because the principal won't let them. It's not state law.
Don, I'll give you the last word.
It's a very fluid thing. I think it changes from year to year, day to day. I had a passion for it at one time, and I really thought I could look at doing that for a career. I think there's people out there that have made commitments to do it. We should get them.
So I'm going to take just a couple of minutes if somebody wants to ask a question. Somebody's hiding behind me. It has to be a question, not a statement.
It's a question. When I went kindergarten and first grade, it was parochial school. We were Catholic in the family. Then we moved to South America and I went to school there. Then we came back when I was 12 years old and went to high school. Okay, went to military high school. Okay. The question is, in all those places, they practice corporal punishment, and I have a master's degree to show the value of it. How do you feel about corporal punishment?
To me, that would depend on what you're punishing for.
Being unruly, being a jerk. And I was. I deserved every spot I got. Okay? And I knew it.
I'm not categorically against corporal punishment, but to me, it's got to be used sparingly.
Of course. And they were not abusive in any of these places.
No,
I
I understand that, but corporal punishment, when I was going through school, we had corporal punishment. The principal had a paddle.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you a question since that came up.
I caught a couple of
Which
spots,
of
too.
the teachers do you remember the best?
I remember best an English teacher who taught Shakespeare. And I had one third grade teacher who I was in love with in third grade, but she was a great teacher.
You know what they say about teachers and people in third grade, don't you?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I called my third grade teacher by her first name. I read it on some kind of PK thing or something. I thought we were friends.
When I went
She
to
said,
school,
no, let's keep it as Mrs. Rosenberg.
when I went to school in Iowa, at every grade level, you were called Mr. Rust.
Yes. Not
And the
more.
teacher was Miss or Mrs. Or Mr. That's one reason there's no respect. I hate that when you go to a doctor's office These days they call it John and 15 people stand up. And you think, you dumbass? Surnames are for a reason.
There's one question I didn't ask you, but I'm gonna have to. Do you think the county manager should also be on the school board?
No.
No, I don't think so.
But he's gonna be.
He
How are you
shouldn't
gonna
be-
handle that?
I know, he shouldn't hold both positions.
So are you gonna
County
suggest,
ma-
are you gonna suggest he should resign as county manager?
Yes. No, I'm gonna suggest he resign as school board member and not run for reelection.
Well, he's already running.
I understand that.
John?
I wasn't aware of who this person is.
Oh, what's his name?
Yeah.
Tim Sutton.
Oh,
He's the county manager now, and he's also running for school board again.
It'll be his third term.
Yeah.
well, I don't know why he runs such a busy agenda.
Well, let's put it this way, I know that being county manager is more than a full-time job. So if it's more than a full-time job, you can't do justice as a trustee of the school board and hold county manager. To me, that's, you're doing a disservice to the school
In the community.
and the community.
Well, I'm gonna say that about wraps it up.
No, thank you.
We have. And I'll turn off the recording.
Appreciate your help.
You guys have been very entertaining, to say the least.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a good thing. I want to mention this book. For those of you who have kids or are interested in kids, this book, the title of this book is wrong. The woman who wrote it, it says, Why People Are Gay. That's not what's in this book. What's in this book is, how do you tell your child is being abused? When they're being abused, they'll never tell you because they're threatened by the abuser. This book, this woman interviews people that were abused as children. And she's written various scenarios that take place, from the coach, to the music teacher, to the father, to the mother, to the uncle, to the babysitter. The scenarios are in here. I gotta tell you, I read this, when the woman gave me this book to read, I never thought, I thought it was gonna be about being gay. It did have something to do with it. But the bottom line was, it was the stories of these people, what happened to them when they were young. And the fact that they decided in their mind that they needed a safe place. And that's what it was. So anyway, I have some of those books. If you ever decide you want to get a copy for somebody, I think every parent ought to read what's in here. And I have a gay son. And I can look back now at his youth and the abuse he got from his sister that we didn't know about. And there was a day when we were riding in the car and he was 22 years old, when he told me he decided that's what he was going to do. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you all for coming. Oh, yeah. Paperwork count. Yes.
I am Tawny Ghazi. I'm running for school board in District 5. Single mother of 2 who both currently attend school in this district. I'm unhappy with the performance that we have had up to this point, and I am here ready to change it.
Is there some reason I didn't invite you? Is there some reason I didn't invite you? No, we called an email, I have the list. Huh? Oh, you got the, oh, you should have got up here. Were you running against anybody, or was it you?
Okay, and I know too, because
You could have been the rose between the thorns.
Yeah. No, our intent was, if somebody didn't have competition in the race, then we didn't invite them.
Well, the
But anybody else, who, if there was somebody else you're gonna compete with, you should have been up there. Yes, you better be allowed.
Well, we were both in the same district, so we thought we just had.
Well, no, I'm sorry, you got that impression, but if we sent you an invite, or we contacted you, my wife is doing the contact. Did she call you today?
So that,
I support,
What's your name?
In California, because of the union, there's a guy teaching English. He can't speak English. For 17 years.
other than that, this is something like play.
That's right. I love that line, that's the way I remember the music. I'm like marriage on that. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
There's a true story happening.
That doesn't surprise me either.
Have a good day.
Take care.
I'm gonna stand up before we meet. So, it's Lisa. I'm Lisa Romanoff, running for the Assembly District 36. Wish I could go on that table. I know the answer. It's actually, I'm on the outskirts of company. When I got. No, she I got a call before my time. I don't mind what he does, that's fine.
Right now, I don't think there's a difference in Washington.
From what I've seen.
I look at what's going on here, everybody's playing.
That's my
Actually, they don't promote it when they get, it's only on their website, you gotta hunt for it. That should be the whole I can tell by the answers, and I would love to be able to help if you guys are there.
And what are you running for anyway?
Assessor. So you remember Shirley Madison? She was the assessor, you don't know. It's great that the county pays for that one for people alone. And there were things that went on behind the scenes and how it doesn't know about it. And one of the things that bothered me is that the county did a raise and took the equipment out of the car, taking it. My question is, the county said they don't need equipment. Right? The county afforded it. Technically working for the state.
They go and get, they get.
That's right. Well, I said, they owned it, and the county didn't have a warrant, and they were there, and what they did,
Here that we assess, and today, point after that, like your full, so the thing is, last year was the first year that we had across the board assessment. And so now we are. So my grandfather graduated out of high school out here in Central Valley, and everyone like that. And they are. Yes, our program. Everybody, that's how it's like. They had an higher life, and my grandson always had the other thing, and I was just. Well, I just mind more. Yes.
This poor, woman that works at the now for years, on the stack of papers on her. So she don't have anything home to do, in addition to those people. And I heard it was going to what they would be getting over. Somehow, their office. But I don't know, she told me that, I don't know. But it says right here, the students who went to the school district in which they were laughing over. I'll be working, and so the student doesn't even know. You don't have to do it. And I don't know why they would go an extra step. The students only want the marketplace, how we tell them that.
But they were telling me, people that are in the fifties to go back to. So, you know, just the thing,
I think it's better to get, and I was told it all that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're really good about stuff like that. I don't think we don't have to, so we can pass. And you know, like, get a master's for 1 year with 1 credit. So we had 17 credits, right? With 1/4 of a credit, so you had to take it all, so you had to do everything. And what you find is that maybe out here, the credit may be a hundred semesters instead of a whole year.
You know, I had.
So that's where you got, that's why you get part of the year halfway.
I've heard from so many people how bad it is. I love that. I've got a couple of people from Pennsylvania, they're going to take me through it. And everything's going on now. I don't even fucking know it. And the school, something, and everything. I used to do it, at UCL for 2 years. And I had some kids in the high school work on myself and do a couple of shows with them. It was amazing. Is there anything that we talk about outside the state or we don't? It's exactly what the kids are getting into. Remember my kids? And the fact, I had 5 kids on the round table talking about the issues that are going on in the Boston state. Why are you using the class? And we just didn't even ask. We just said, what do you guys want to talk about?
You know, my granddaughter actually, decided to be home. You're in school because, she said that whenever somebody was making noise in class, they disciplined the whole class. She didn't like that, if you want to go straight into,
I gotta tell you, when I was teaching one of the high school classes, the English class, and the English teacher was doing every night, what to do the next day. But he was out so much that they were going to different substances for the same class. Well, I thought it was 3 days. And on the second day, there was half the class was still on music. They were talking to each other, they were eating lunch, till 10 o'clock. So I stopped the class, and there were other kids wanted to study. So I stopped the class and I asked them, I said, how many of you do not want to be in this class? So we talked to Teacher Davis and I said, one of the 15 students to the principal, so the principal, they don't want to be in this class and I don't want them in that class. The principal brought the students back, put them back in the classroom, the assistant principal started to teach them, and I was told I wasn't automatic in class. But I know from the other parents, the other kids, that this went on every day in that class. It wasn't me. Yeah. And that's the day that this parent came to me and said, my son's in your class, and he didn't learn anything today because you were doing this in something too. And I'm upset about that. And that's when I realized something. I was wasting my time calling the parents of disruptive students. I should have been calling the parents that had an interest in having good education.
And on top of it, I went to, my daughter had 2 girls in high school at the same time. The English class, the guy, the teacher there, says, he's using this book they want to read, and they're all basically oriented toward men. Okay?
That's wrong. Many different things.
You know? And I'm sitting there going, well, that's, if you ask, well, why, don't you have anything that you could do a little bit of both? You know, there are girls in class, you know? And, he said, well, I don't. No, it was there when I came in.
But yeah, I don't know who you were.
Yeah. Right. You know, and that's the thing is,
And thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You wanna just maybe help me put this stuff back? Appreciate it.
Yeah, you got a lot to do.
Well, it ain't as bad as the other days. I'm curious how this is gonna turn out.
How what is it?
Huh?
How what will it turn out?
The, audio. Now, this was live streamed. Hey, Frank was here.
Yeah, so.
He's got some personal problems and he's really stressed out.
That's a shame.
I feel badly for him, but there ain't much I can do other than counsel him.